everybody. Well, good afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon. Well, I don't know where it is, where you're at, but anyway, good whatever it is. So today we're finally back down here on the old horse shelter. We're gonna get these rafter tails cut off here. Well, I'll show you how to get those, how I do those, get them good and straight, make sure the fascia is level. Then we'll go ahead and get the stringers put up for screwing the metal down too. We wound up actually getting a pretty good deal the other day. Our neighbors got a hold of us. They evidently saw this going up, and they had a bunch of metal left over from a purchase that they made years ago on a building that was torn down or whatever, and they had to buy all the metal or none of it, so they bought it all and they built a couple sheds and stuff. They just told us to come and get the rest of it. So we've got more than enough metal to do this, a shed over the mill, lumber sheds. I mean, whatever projects we want to do, there's quite a bit of metal there. I mean, I wouldn't build a whole shop or anything, but for a roof system on something, yeah, there's lots. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll show you how I do things, make sure everything's straight and level and square, and we'll get on with it. So see you in a minute. Okay, so the fascia on this building, on the existing building, I want to match it. It actually needs replaced. It's pretty dried out and screwed up. But anyway, the rafters are cut off square. So instead of being a plumb cut, they're square. Either way, it doesn't matter however someone wants to do it. Just want to make it look nice and straight. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and match the existing one. And I don't think I can get my square up in there. So let's see. So with my square against the fascia, back to the tail, 7/8 of an inch. So what I'll do is make a mark here on the bottom. Go 7/8 uphill from that. That will make my fascia, or my tails, the same length as theirs. Don't see that or not, but anyway. So right there. Now the original shed that was here, when it was built, it was way out of square. So in order for me to get everything squared up, when I put my posts in, I put my posts in straight with their posts. And then I put a top cap on here. Now this is 2x8. And then my rafters are sitting on that. And this is square. The wall isn't. So when you pull any measurements, you want to pull off of your square spot, which on a normal building would be your top plates or your bird's mouth, your tail cut, or your bottom cord cut, whatever you want to call it. So if we go out from there down the bottom rake of the tail, we are 8 3/8. So I want to pull the same measurement on the other end. I'll do that real quick, just off camera. Okay, so now we got a mark on the other end, and this mark here, I want to make a mark on the top. I like to mark these from the top. Well, not necessarily mark them from the top. I like to have my string line on the top. Like I said, there's a million ways to do this. Everybody's does it different, I'm sure. This is just how I like to do it for accuracy. And there, we'll stretch the string down to the other end, and I'll show you what we did up here on top, wind it up. Okay, so I've got my string stretched out, and it's just draped over the side of this rafter, and then I ran it back there. It's kind of locked right up there over that rafter. It's pretty tight, keeps it straight. So anyway, now I didn't put my string, if you can notice here, over the top of that line, because that string is really wide and my line is a lot finer than that, and I can cut it closer than what that string line is. So my string is on the uphill side of that pencil mark, just the edge of the string. So when I'm running my square on to mark the rest of these, I'll run my square up just until it touches the string, like that. And that is where I make my mark. And that'll get everything about as straight as you can get it. So go ahead and mark these out, and then we'll show you cutting them off. All right, I've got all my tails marked out, well, except for that one and this one. So something to consider when marking your tails out, a couple things. Do you want to be cutting your tails from up above or from down here? Personally, and it's just personal, it can go either way. I cut them from up on top. Walk the wall, cut them up on top. That way, I don't have all the sawdust in my face. Blocks aren't falling down on me. And I don't have a running saw up above my head. The other thing to consider is which side of the board you want your mark on. That depends on two things, essentially. Which side of the blade, or which side of the saw your blade is on the saw that you're using. I use a worm drive skill saw. My blade is on the left hand side. So when I'm cutting, I want to be cutting the right hand side of the line. So I want my marks to be on this side, so when I'm cutting down from the top, I can see my line, make my cut straight. If you were cutting from underneath, you'd want your line on this side, cut up. If you have a saw, like there's some of the saws out there that have the blade on the right hand side, it would be just opposite. So anyway, go ahead and climb up and I'll show you how to cut these tails off. Now I don't know if anybody's noticed, and I wouldn't recommend this if you're not used to it. My saw, I have my guard pinned up. I know there's a lot of safety issues with that, but I also believe that it's a safety issue to have it down. I won't go into that right now, but that's just my personal feelings on it. But something to keep in mind when you have your blade like that is catching your cord, which I've done it, obviously, a few times. It happens. But when I'm cutting tails or work like this, I drape the cord over my neck, keep it up out of my way. And no power. All right, we'll figure that out. I'll be right back. I'm used to walking 2x4 walls. This 2x8 up here is awful nice. All right, that's got the tails cut off. Next thing I need to do, I got to put a 2x4 out here on this outside of this rafter so that when I run my board and batt up on the gable here, I've got something to butt it into, makes it trim out and finish nice. And I also need that up there. Let's see, actually, I'm gonna wait on that. Just trying to think of how this is all gonna go together. So I got my stringers up on top to nail the, or screw the tin down to, and I want that 2x4 on the fascia to be flush with the top of that, which is gonna move it up 1.5 inches. It'll still come out with the fascia all right, so yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get the stringers on here. So I've got, it's almost 7 feet. I'm gonna go 2 foot spacing, and we'll put one right at the top. I'm breaking them opposite, you know, not all on the same rafter, so they're staggered. And we'll just go ahead and clean some ice off of this. So the bottom one, I just want it flush with the fascia, or with the tail, I mean. Now, if these were longer or narrower boards, you know, something like that where they could have a chance to bow or whatever, you'd want to pull layout on all these. I'm not doing it on this one just because these are pretty stout and they're still straight. So I'm not too worried about it. 3.5. So we'll just go 24 inches from the top, make a mark. Okay, I'm going to continue this on, get the rest of them out on the end. Then I'll put that fascia board on that I was talking about, that 2x4 running down the fascia. So I'll get these cut, put up, probably get the other side done too. We'll come back with the next step. Probably getting fascia on. So, alright, see you in a minute. Okay, I definitely want to make sure my end rafter here is straight so that my metal's straight. I cut my metal straight and everything lines up good. So what I did is the bottom one's nailed and the top one's nailed. Then I did the same thing I did on the tails, just run a string line from the top to the bottom where the edge of the rafter is, and then squared up my line on these two other ones. I'll cut all four of these off, nail those two middle ones down, they'll be where they need to be, and that gable end will be straight. Okay, now just pull this rafter out. I need a measurement. Alright, so that's got that done, and we'll go ahead and get the other side done. Probably get some fascia on, get this other board on the end here, and so I'll bring you back for some of that. See you in a minute. Alright everybody, we're going to get these boards on the gable here. So what I did to get my center point, because my beam is below the plane of the roof, I had a 2x4 on this side and a 2x4 on the other side running up the slope. And I got them to touch flush on the bottom so that showed where the slopes met. Took a level and I plumbed the line down right here on this beam so that it's plumb. Then I took my square and put it on top of them 2x4s and got the angle 13.5 degrees, which let's see, what kind of slope is that? Just about a 312, just a little under a 312, which is basically warranty slope for metal roofs. They say everything should be 312 or better on a metal roof in order to have it warranted. But anyway, we'll go ahead and nail these up, and that'll give me something to butt my board and batt to under here. We got the slope cut. This might be a little tricky. Let's just shoot a nail in here about 3.5 inches down. That'll hold that end up. Perfect. Flush on the top with my board. nail's a little high, so yeah, that's about right. Now I'll go ahead and pull that nail out now that I can hold it up. When you work by yourself, you gotta come up with ways to do things when you're not an octopus, you don't have 8 hands to do stuff, so make that flush right there. Finish this one off. I'll go ahead and nail that one and cut that end off flush with the tails. Actually, I may run that out past the fascia just to give it a, I don't know, whatever look. And I was saying about my fascia earlier, the existing building has just 1x4 fascia on it, but because I use 2x8s on this for rafters, if I put 1x4 fascia on there, I'd actually cut way up into my bird's mouth. I think I'm just going to do a fascia change right there and put 1x8 on there or something. I don't know, we'll see what I do there, but anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Alright everybody, I think I'm going to call her a day on content anyway. Probably going to go ahead and get my board and batt put up on that gable end, which, I mean, there's nothing special there. It's the same as the walls, just with an angle cut on top. I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I think the old honey wagon needs a muffler. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and work on some of that a little more. I will have another video on putting the metal on. There's a few tricks and tips there that, you know, on something this small, it's not a huge issue, just because if you're just a little out of square or something, it's not going to make a huge difference. But you get on bigger roofs, shop roofs, you know, something that's 15, 20 feet long, you start getting out 5 or 6 sheets and you're out of square, you're going to start seesawing your saw blade and your edge of your roof. It's going to look like a saw blade with teeth in it. A few tricks to help with that. Even if you are out of square, you can fix that. But hope everybody's doing well. Hope you enjoyed the video and maybe picked up on a few little tricks and tips. I don't know. I've been doing this stuff quite a while and I've got a few little things that I can figure out and know how to do. But be kind, help somebody out. 'Tis the season, you know, and it's a new year. Hopefully things get better. I don't know what's going to happen with me, with my job and stuff. Sounds like I'll probably be done working on the 14th of January, and after that, I don't know. I'm probably going to wind up going back to work for myself and building remodel projects and things like that, filming YouTube content, working around the house, milling lumber and selling that some maybe, and hopefully we'll be logging all summer. So who knows? It's all up in the air. One thing that never changes in this world is everything changes. So we'll see you on the next one. 307 out.